Welcome to the continuation of Scoops. So, in our last episode, we fixed the two wiper bushings that function, make the passenger side wiper work. That's been working great. I drove this the other day in the rain, no problems. We had fixed the charging system by replacing the alternator and the regulator. That's been working great. Staying at 14 and a half now instead of climbing to 18 like it was. That's great. We had pulled the instrument cluster out partly so we could access that bushing, also because we're having issues with the gas gauge, and I was questioning the voltage regulator on the dash. So it worked some before. It would go up to full and then fall to half and then drop to empty. I'm 90% sure it's a sending unit or a ground problem with the tank, but I wanted to check that since I had to be in there anyway. The good news is the gas gauge doesn't work at all now. So today we're picking up with that. Stick around. I'm Mike. You're watching Mike Our Shop. What you don't know is that I spent hours digging through the warehouse looking for my extra 73 dash frame and instrument cluster. I found the 76 dash frame. I knew I had um, sold the instrument cluster out of that because that's a little different. That is a low voltage amp gauge and 76 only, and it wouldn't work in this car. Most people don't necessarily know that, but that's a very different instrument cluster. Looks physically the same, but the circuits on the back and the way it's wired completely different, not interchangeable easily with the 75 in the back dash. However, that's gone. I finally remembered that I sold that cluster to a guy locally because he needed one of the gauges for his demon. I think he's got a demon, and he just said, I'll buy the whole cluster from you. So that's gone. I was really looking for the bezel. I think the bezel may still be here, but my good buddy Dave came through for me, and I got this now. It's a total cluster. It's got the regulator in it. It's been, it's rusty, is what I'm saying. I'm probably not going to use this, but I do need the bezel because for whatever reasons, the one in this car is just disintegrating, probably from just being 53 years old. So we're not going to bother painting this one brown right now to match the rest of the dash. We're going to leave this black, but I want to put that bezel on that cluster. This also has a good ammeter in it, and the ammeter in that one, the needle fell off, so I'm going to go ahead and swap that out. So we're going to go back in there, and we're going to pull that cluster back out, take it out on the bench, probably the hood of the Challenger, and work on swapping all of this around. And then we're going to dig into figuring out why the gas gauge doesn't work at all now. Yeah, let's get after it. So the thing I want to do, I guess, to start is pull the bezel off from the cluster. It'll make it easier to diagnose the issues in there. Plus, it makes it easier to, well, doesn't want to come off. Makes it easier to change out the ammeter since you have to take this off anyway. I've been concerned about that ammeter for a long time because the needle's off. The gauge technically is still working with no needle. But if that gauge does happen to fry inside, then nothing electrical will work on the car. And it's kind of a design flaw as far as I'm concerned in these things, that you have mainline voltage going through your instrument cluster. But I understand the rationale, and I think that's why they changed it in 76 and then up from there to it's not a low voltage amp meter, but it functions differently and doesn't have that high. God dang you. Golly. I love you, but no. Scared the whiz out of me. And almost spilled my coffee. Anyway, whew, gets the heart going first thing in the morning. So anyway, I've been concerned that because the needle's off of that, I have no way of knowing what's going on with that part of the dash, and so it's just nice to have a new gauge to put in there and take care of the problem. So, all right, I'm going to get this apart, get that apart, and we'll be right back. See if the cat can scare me again. I did not realize that this was a 76 cluster. I should have, because it has the black fascia. Oops. But yeah, it is. So let me show you how you know that. So the 73, 74, 71, all that stuff has a solid brass unit that goes in here, and these can cause a fire because the contacts up in here where the wire gets bad and start causing problems, and then it arcs and the wires melt and causes a fire. This is that lower amperage voltage unit that I'm talking. God dang it! Just dump bushings everywhere. That I'm talking about. See, it's got a coil in here. I cannot use this in this dash. It's not compatible. The wiring is different. So I did find the needle for this, but I don't think I can reattach it. So I guess we're just going to have to put it back together again the way it is. But that's the difference. 76 only, right there, is not really compatible with the older dash. So there we go. So just to be clear, the circuit board is different also. You'll notice there is no contacts here to anything else on the board, right? This is an isolated thing where the two wires come in. This one is completely different. Look at this is all part of the main circuits of the board here. You can see that this ties into the circuit that runs over to that voltage regulator. This one ties into the ground side. So again, they are not compatible. I'm not making that up. So don't put a 76 cluster in an older car or vice versa. Okay, it was a bad gas gauge. So I'm not saying that's all the problem, but definitely, I don't know if when we were mucking with it last time something happened to it, or if it's been failing for a while. That's not fun. The problem with all this old stuff is it's so brittle. I literally just went to wipe that off and it fell out. So we'll get that figured out here in a minute. Probably just super glue it back in, but I want to get all the dust and the grime cleaned off of this. So I just sprayed this down with an Armor All type cleaner, foamy cleaner. Then we'll get it cleaned up a little bit, and hopefully it'll be copacetic and not so pathetic. I'm not painting it up. I do want to either redo it with the wood grain or find one that has the wood grain on it. But for now, at least this one's not broke up, except it's missing. But, so anyway, that's good enough. I'm gonna blow this up, not blow it up, but blow it out and get it cleaned up just a little bit more, and then we will carefully try to put it back in the car and not muck anything else up. You know what I'm saying. It's just all this plastic is so brittle. You can see this one as I was working before. I mean, the screen is, oh geez, everything's flying everywhere. The stuff is just, the screen fell out of that one, cracked in here. It's from the sun. It's just from years of, 50-some years of being outside. So I don't know what all that stuff was that went flying. We'll find it. Anyway, I'm gonna get this finished up and get this together. Okay, we have everything except dash lights. And I bet you anything it's that one right there. Let's see, is that? No, that's blinkers. I gotta look here. Okay, so that's the bright dim light there. That one there would be left blinker. That one's right blinker there. Okay, so it's not those. So it's this here. This is pieces of plastic flying around inside of there yet. There's another one. I think I got them all out finally. Anyway, so this one here. We have a burned out bulb. And let's see, this is a left right dim. So this would be that's a burned out bulb. It's also a broken one. This one here. That's a burned out bulb. Oh, I'm glad that's all it is. I was tearing my hair out trying to figure out why I didn't have dash lights. I thought I've had dash lights in this, but maybe I guess as I think about it, there was only one that was working, and in the process of banging all this around, it probably burned it out. I hope that's all it is. I can't just put these in as far as the just turning in the whole thing because that's burned out. I don't know if I have a box of these 194s or not. That looks like a good one there. I'll have to test them, but okay. Yeah, the little turny thingy innies are different size because of that 76. So hopefully this is all it is. I was starting to question my sanity, which I should. Let's find another one here. That looks like a good one. Oof, dirty. Okay. Well, I have got dropsy today. I think that one's good. Okay, one more. I got to go over there and get the oof da. That's burnt. That's, I think that one's good. I'm going to test all these before we get too carried away, but I know the blinkers and all that stuff worked in this, but I better check those too, I guess. Okay. This is the bright low beam. That don't look ducky either, does it? Oh, it's just dusty. Okay. All right, I'm going to go through and check all these, and we'll go from there. Well, there we go. It's all back in. Everything works except the blinker lights in the dash. The bezel started cracking in a couple places, and I said, you know what? I can live without that. It's got a loud blinker switch or a loud blinker flasher in it. Think it, think it, think it. You can hear it. You can see the ones out here on the hood. And I thought, you know what? I am not going to take a chance on cracking that bezel up more. Yeah, it ticked me off. Its stuff is so brittle. And I did determine that this column is crushed probably about an inch to an inch and a half, and that's part of what's going on is I can't get the column to drop down like it should to be able to fit things in and out of there properly. So I need to replace that column. I have one. I just need to take a day and do it. But it's going to be a whole day job, and it works as it is for now. So, but if you look down underneath here, the crush column, there's a mesh, and that should be straight, and you can see it. It's just buckled like crazy. So somebody at some point slammed into that steering column. That has to be what happened, and crushed that in. So because the column is on plastic sleeves, it kind of floats in there a little bit. But it's the column where the mounts are. It's almost past the studs. It's not centered like it should be. It's about an inch to an inch and a half off. So anyway, that problem mystery is solved also. This thing is a dirty pig. I may grab a handful of change, and I want to go for a drive anyway, but the gas gauge is actually working 100%. So let me fill you in on that. I had a combination of a gas gauge. This is definitely doesn't test good anymore. And the instrument voltage regulator, because I couldn't get anything to work. It was working. I tested it all. Everything was working good. I put it all in the car. The gas gauge wouldn't work at all. So I thought, all right, I'm going to test that gas gauge. It didn't test good. It was acting really flaky. So I pulled the one out of the other instrument cluster, put it in there, and it just and buried. And I thought, you know what? That's a symptom of it's getting 12 volts to that gauge. And I bet that's why this gauge failed. It was the instrument panel voltage regulator. I took the one out of the other dash, put it in there, and it's right between a half and a quarter. That thing has never hit a half a tank that it didn't drop to zero before. So I'm actually anxious to see if that's what it was. My speculation is, remember a year ago we were having problems with the charging system overvolting, and I replaced the regulator and it fixed that. Some of you said the alternator's probably bad. Well, I drove it for a year. It was fine. So I don't know, but we've put a regulator and an alternator on it. It's 14 and a half volts the way it should be. I got a feeling when it overvoltaged before, at some point, it was probably doing it for a long time and I didn't know it because I didn't have a voltmeter on it until last year. So my guess is this has been a problem ongoing for a couple of years, and it smoked the regulator and the gauge. That's my guess. So good call on your part. But it said when I put the regulator in, it was where it should be. It was not overcharging anymore. So I don't know. But anyway, alternator, regulator, voltage regulator, and a gas gauge. And the gas gauge seems to be working good now. So, all right, I see that my microphones are dying. It's time to quit. So thanks for joining me for part two, the Cars Together. I'm going to go for a drive, put some gas in it, do a couple other things, and try to enjoy the rest of my day. You have a good one, and we'll catch you on the next one. And don't forget, it's important. Rawr!